Hello, welcome to episode 4 of the Desire Dream Vision podcast with me, Michael Kern. Massive thanks as always to our friends from Inverso Sport. This week the episode is all about the 3-2-1 philosophy. So grab yourself a notepad and pen because we got some work to do.
What's your deepest, darkest desire?
I have a dream.
Find your vision and follow it.
Now, a great deal of time, sweat, and a few tears were expended on all this.
We listen to each other. We lean on each other because we are always stronger together.
The DDV Podcast is brought to you in partnership with Inverso.
Hi, thanks so much for joining us again this week, episode 4, and I'm focusing on the 3-2-1 philosophy, which is all part of Desire Dream Vision in this week's episode. So I hope you've got your pen ready and you've got your notepad ready because you're going to need it very shortly. So if you haven't got one, press pause, go get one because you're going to need it. So those of you who have listened to the first 3 episodes already will know that I've mentioned the 3-2-1 philosophy before. It's all about having one goal, 2 inspirations, and 3 motivators. I'm going to take you through them step by step. I'm going to share mine with you, and fingers crossed by the time we've done with this, you're going to be well on your way to achieving that goal and ambition that you really want to focus on and you really want to achieve. The whole thing about 3-2-1 is all about focusing you in and giving you things to remind you and focus you, because I think that's really important, that it's so easy to lose your way when you're trying to achieve a goal and ambition. So the 3-2-1 philosophy will kind of keep you focused. It's something that's going to be there constantly every single day of your life. Okay, let's start off then with one goal. So on your piece of paper right now, slap bang in the middle, I want you to write the words, one goal. Nice and simple. That is how we're going to kick things off. So one goal right there in the middle of our piece of paper. So for me, I have a massive belief that every single one of us should have exactly the same goal in life. So get your pen ready, and underneath the words one goal, write this, happiness. So there we go, happiness. Yes, that is the most important thing, in my opinion, that we should all be striving for. I think we should wake up every single day absolutely loving what we do, and we want to create happiness for ourselves personally, but also for those people around you. So happiness is a goal that I think we all need to have. It should be our number 1 priority in the world right now. We know how tough it is. We know all the things that are going on right now. But if we can wake up every single day and create happiness, that is the most important thing. Now, around the word happiness, I want you to write the next couple of things. So first of all, in one corner, I want you to write the word work. And then the other corner, I want you to write the word family. And then in another corner, down at the bottom, I want you to write the words me. Okay? So there we go. So you've got 3 words around here. So first of all, we're going to start off with work. What do you love to do? What is your hobby? Now, some of us already know where we want to get to, what skills we've got, and how we're going to get there. So I want you to take a moment right now, pause this, and I want you to write down some skills that you've got, or maybe a job that you want to do that gives you happiness and gives you joys. It could be something you're already doing as a bit of a side hustle, or something that you've always wanted to do. It could be something creative. It could be something extracurricular away from your business. It could be a sport that you love that you want to try and monetize somehow. So I want you to pause this right now, and I want you to write down a few things, some skills you've got, or some things you enjoy doing that we can monetize. Okay, so fingers crossed you've written a few things down. So I have gone for, I love to talk and I like to engage with people. And I love telling people's story. That's a big thing I've written down here. I love my sport. I love entertaining. So these are just a few things that I like to do, which has kind of led to me becoming a presenter, which all these things together in a job creates happiness. Something I love to do. Something I really, really enjoy. So have a little look at those skills you've got. You might already be doing a job which kind of brings you that level of happiness already. But it's good just to focus in on those things that you feel you're good at, that you can then utilize within your career. So that's one little section of it. Let's move on to family now. I want you to, once again, give us a little pause. And what things are important to you from a family perspective, and friends, like loved ones around you? What do you see that picture being like? What do you want to be able to do regards to happiness and creating that for people? Okay, so I've written two things down for my family section. I've gone for memories and security. That's two things that if I can create memories for my friends and family around me, and if I can create security around them in the sense that that might be financial security, it might be having a roof over their heads, it might be just helping them out if they need it. Those are two things. If I can generate those things for my family and my friends, that all moves in to our number one goal of happiness. Right. The next section at the bottom here is called Me, and I want you to have a little look now and write down things for you that are gonna make you happy. What makes you happy? What makes you smile? Forget about work for a second. Forget about family things, although it might be a family thing that makes you smile. What makes you happy? And what would you, I guess the word would be, what would make you think that you've been successful? What would help you be happy that what you've achieved? So have a little think and write a few things down. So I've gone for financial freedom. Now that doesn't necessarily mean being like a multi-millionaire Jeff Bezos kind of character. For me, it is enabling me to be able to create memories and experiences. That's what I class as financial freedom, having the choice to do things. And I think it's something I think we maybe sometimes frown upon when people say, oh, I want to be financial freedom. It's not necessarily about being super rich. It's actually just about having that freedom, that level of income, which gives you the freedom to create the memories and create the experiences, which is something that's very important to me. And the other thing that brings me great happiness is giving back and making a difference to other people's life. So by now, we'll have some things on this piece of paper now, which will remind you of what creates that happiness. So if you're having a tough day, you can have a look at this little piece of paper and go, okay, I'm trying to create this happiness right now. What am I doing with work? Am I doing this right? Do I need to rethink this? Then you think about your family and your friends and you think, okay, I want to create some happiness here for me and also for them maybe. Am I doing this right? Remind yourself of what family means to you. And then me. Think about it. Think about yourself. What's going to create that happiness for you? Because if you've got that happiness, you're going to be so much more engaged. You're going to feel so much more powerful. You're going to feel much stronger to make things happen. So that's my number one goal. Everyone must have happiness. And of course, the actions around that goal will create the happiness and will create the career and follow the path that you want to go down to. So that is part number one. It's all about happiness. One goal. Okay, let's move on to number two. This is all about motivators, things that get you out of bed in the morning to achieve that goal and achieve that happiness and do the things that you absolutely love every single day. So first of all, motivators for me. It's been an interesting one, really. I'm not overly materialistic. I know sometimes people like to do things to work hard because they want to enjoy the finer things of life when it comes to designer things. We see that on Instagram all the time, right? Everyone with cars and watches and things like that. Designer handbags, shoes, and I think a lot of people sometimes think that that's the be-all and end-all, and I think it's a real danger of social media. But motivators for me has been quite an interesting one. It's something that's been very fluid over the years. I kind of set a target in my 20s of two things I really wanted to achieve, and I guess in your 20s you're following the dream, you're going for it, you're gung-ho. So I remember when I was about 20, 21, I looked in GQ magazine and I saw a picture of a Breitling watch. It's the only watch I've ever fallen in love with. It's a watch that all of a sudden just became, well, maybe if I really work hard, I could achieve this. And it would give me an appreciation of or level of success of that I've achieved something. I guess that's something that we all kind of strive for. And I'm massively guilty of it. I love to have little markers in my life of what have I done? Have I achieved this? Have I been successful? Not for anyone else, but just for me. And I remember looking at this Breitling watch and I said, I'd love to own one of these one day, and I just put it on my mood board, and it became a massive motivator for me to achieve that within my 20s. I managed to achieve it by the time I was 28, so it took 8 years of hard graft to get there. But I look at it every single day, I wear it all the time, and I look at it and it reminds me of every second, hour, minute, moment that I've had to sacrifice to get to where I've got to follow the dream. And every time I look at it, I don't look at it and go, oh, look at me, my motivator, I've managed to get a nice watch. It reminds me of every single sacrifice that I've still got to make. If I want to continue this journey, I've got to keep striving and keep working hard. So that was a massive motivator for me. My other motivator in my 20s is one I'm still working on. I've got to my 30s, the goal goals moved slightly, was an Aston Martin. And I know that sounds a bit materialistic and people might go, oh, it's just a sports car. But that got me through quite a tough time. When I was about 23, I went to a bit of a dark place with mental health stuff. And I just remember sticking on James Bond all the time, watching it, and it would just give me some escapism. And I remember I got the opportunity to drive an Aston Martin Vantage not long after that. And I sat in it, and it just was incredible. And it just kind of made me feel like I had a bit of a purpose again of, okay, well, I'd like to own one of these one day. So get yourself out of this, keep working hard, and you can achieve this. So that became my second motivator in my 20s. It wasn't about getting the brand spanking new one that's really, really stupidly expensive. Still to this day, the Aston Martin that one day I'd love to own, that's motivating me to achieve the success, is a 2010, 2012 model Vantage. So it's not about the materialistic aspect. It's something that means something special to you. And I think I remember talking in episode 1 about respecting people's motivators, respecting people's goals. And people's motivators are completely different. And mine will change as I go forward. I've got a little nephew now. He's just gone 2. But he is also a massive motivator in my life now, because there's like another generation below me, and you want to make sure that they're looked after and they're guided, and you know that I have a relationship with him like I have with my uncles. So motivators are really important. They're things that you see every single day that inspire you to take you to the next level. So in my 20s and just shading into my 30s like I am now, they have been materialistic, but they will change as I get older and settle down, have a family. Those will become my motivators and things that get me up every single day. So I want you to write down 2 things that motivate you. They can be materialistic if you want them to be. They can be personal if you want them to be. And they can be anything you want them to be. They're things that are going to get you out of bed in the morning to go and achieve your dream. So I'm going to write down the Aston Martin, because that is still on the mood board. And at the moment, I'm going to keep the Breitling on there and the watch, because they are the motivators that I look at. Because at the moment, I think it's important when you're in that next stage moving forward to kind of keep yourself focused on what's already been. So my motivators have been the Aston and the watch. They will change. I can tell you that in the next couple of years, because I will need to start being a bit more sensible and doing adult things, which I never really thought I'd get around to. I thought I'd just kind of keep just going with the flow. But of course, there does come a point where you need to settle down and grow up and maybe look at starting a family and stuff. So my motivators will change like that. So give this a little pause right now. Write down things that motivate you. And a massive reminder, of course, make them personal to you. People, of course, will judge. Everyone loves to judge, don't they? But don't listen to them. Your 2 motivators, things that really inspire you to wake up and create that happiness every single day. So there we go then. We've got our 1 goal, which is happiness, now written down on a piece of paper. We've got our motivators as well. So I'd love to hear actually what you've put down as your motivators. So please go onto like Instagram, Twitter, give us a follow, and let me know what your motivators are. Give us a little tweet. It'd be great to share and see what you've got. And I think it's good for accountability as well to kind of share what you're aiming towards. Okay, number 3 is all about inspiration. So I've mentioned before that to achieve your goal and to achieve your ambition, you need that inspiration, okay? That thing that kind of keeps that fire in your belly going when it gets tough. Who can you look to? Who can you lean on? Who inspires you to keep going? Because it won't be easy. There will be some real tough times when it comes to achieving your goal and ambition. And of course, the 3-2-1 philosophy sits alongside that goal and supplements it really well. So, you know, like me, for my goal of being a TV presenter and broadcasting and trying to get into the sports world, trying to create that happiness for me, that's what it was. So then I've managed to get my motivators to keep me driving every day. But you get moments when things don't go right. I've had many in my career. I've had moments where, for example, I worked for the Premier League for 5 years. I was broadcasting around the world, and after 5 years, my contract wasn't renewed. Do I give up at that point, or do I find another way? I get it all the time. You get certain producers that maybe want to try something else with a show. Not necessarily a bad reflection on you, but it means all of a sudden that a revenue stream's gone or an opportunity's gone. So you've got to keep yourself focused and remember that it's not going to be easy, and that's where inspiration comes in. I have 3 inspirations. It's number 3 on the list. And I'm going to take you through my 3 now, and hopefully they'll inspire you. My inspirations cover a range of things, some personal things, and also some people that really inspire me that are in the world. So let's kick off with 1976. You can see my lovely collection of replica trophies I've got behind me. A bit of a geek, love sports memorabilia, but hey, you know, we've all got little things that we like to collect, right? But you can see the FA Cup there. 1976, my beloved Southampton got all the way to the FA Cup final. Laurie McMenemy, the legend that is, led a team of players all the way to the FA Cup final. We took on Manchester United. We were effectively, now if we're going to talk modern day football, we were in the Championship. Manchester United would have been in the Premier League at that time. And we went there without a real hope. People were writing us off. They were saying that Southampton aren't going to win this. This is going to be an easy win. I think even Bobby Charlton, the morning of the cup final, said they were going to win something stupid like 6-0. But we went there and we won. We went and beat Manchester United 1-0 in an FA Cup final and brought home the trophy. And I just think that's incredible. Like, everyone's really happy to write you off. I saw a post from Gary Vaynerchuk this morning which said that you can be like 14-0 down in the first quarter in American football, but you can still come back and win. And I think that's really important, that people will write you off. And the Southampton story in 1976 is very much David and Goliath. There was a few replays. They got to that final and Bobby Stokes popped up and scored that goal. We won 1-0. It brought tremendous joy to the city, and it's something I'm incredibly proud of as a Southampton fan and someone's from Southampton, that we had a team that have lifted that amazing, famous trophy. And it's a massive inspiration to me. If a team of 11 players can go to Wembley when the odds are stacked against them and win the FA Cup final, I can get up and make my day happen. That's a big thing for me. So that is a personal one as a Southampton fan. I absolutely love it. It's a massive inspiration to me. I'm very fortunate to know some of those players from that cup final, so I get to share their stories. People like David Peach and Mr. McMenemy, I get to hear their memories, hear their stories, and they inspire me greatly. I've got pictures of the cup final around my house, and I look at that every single day, and it's something that really, really does inspire me. If they can do it, there's no reason why I can't. My second inspiration is Mr. Muhammad Ali, an absolute legend, 3 times heavyweight world boxing champion. And I've mentioned him before in the podcast. Muhammad Ali grew up in America in a world that was segregated. And I guess it's kind of quite topical right now with everything that's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement now, that, you know, there was a massive step forward taken by Martin Luther King and people like Muhammad Ali, Rosa Parks, but there's still a long way to go. But Muhammad Ali, he inspires me because of that. Yes, amazing in the boxing ring, right? An amazing artist, his feet, his hand movements, the way he won that phantom punch against Sonny Liston. But there's amazing stories about him, about what he did. You know, Rome 1960, when he won an Olympic gold medal, came back home, tried to get a coffee in his local coffee shop and was refused, saying, "We don't serve your kind here." He threw his medal in the river and he just fought for equality, and that's something that's really important to me. He gave up the most important years, some would say, in his boxing career when he would have been in his prime, because he had his boxing license revoked because he refused to go and fight in the Vietnam War, so he got done for draft dodging. And that's just a big inspiration, because if someone is prepared to give up the best years of their personal career for a bigger picture, for a bigger cause, for the human race, for humanity, I think that's incredibly admirable. And for me, if I can just achieve a fraction of a % of what Muhammad Ali did for the world, that would be amazing, making a difference to other people's lives. And he really inspires me. You know, you put that element of what he did within the boxing ring and with what he did outside the ring, a massive inspiration. And again, I've got pictures of Muhammad Ali everywhere. Gutted I never met him. The closest I got was Sir Henry Cooper, who of course famously knocked him down in Wembley. And I had a great chat with Sir Henry, and sadly he's no longer with us anymore. But he just said what a gent Muhammad Ali was. And, you know, for me, if I can conduct myself in that manner, be a good member of society, a good citizen, and make a difference, that inspires me. And of course, from the sporting aspect, Muhammad Ali had many knockdowns, you know, and many, you know, moments like we talked about, having his boxing license revoked. He had to come back from that, and he eventually got it back, and then he still went and won fights when everyone was writing him off. So that is another massive inspiration for me. And the third and final one is my great-grandfather. I never met him. He died long before I was born. But he fought in the Second World War, and he was awarded the George Medal by King George VI. He was another inspiration of mine, but we're sticking to 3 for the 3-2-1 philosophy. He was awarded the George Medal by King George VI. He drove into a minefield in now what is Libya and rescued someone who had got blown from a Bren gun carrier. He put his own life in danger. Him and his comrade drove into this minefield under fire, got blown to their feet a few times, rescued this gentleman, put him in the army medic truck and drove out of the minefield under fire. An amazing story, an absolute hero, risked his life to save someone else's, and I'm incredibly proud that he's my great-grandfather. I'm very lucky that I'm the current custodian of his George Medal. I look at it pretty much every single day. I've got all the paperwork from the palace saying that he was awarded this medal and his note in dispatches for his heroism. And I've got a portrait of him which I've got hung up in my bedroom. And for me, I look at it in this way. If he can risk his life in a moment like that to make a split moment decision to go and save someone else's life, there is no valuable reason or excuse in this world that I can wake up and go, yeah, I can't be bothered today. There's no excuse whatsoever. My great-granddad for me is an absolute hero. He inspires me daily. He, and like so many of his generation, fought for our freedom. And yeah, it's so important that we remember that and don't make excuses. You know, it's not hard to go and make your bed in the morning. Go and do it. Complete a task first thing every single day. If you need to run that errand, you need to do that thing to take you to the next level. Don't make excuses because we are so fortunate right now to live in a world where we do have choice, and the world is our oyster. So yeah, my great-granddad is my third inspiration. He's an absolute hero. I could talk for him for absolutely ages, but conscious, this podcast is like a bite size you can listen to on a commute, and you know, maybe I should do my own personal episode that I go on about great-granddad for ages. But that is my number 3, is the inspiration, those people that inspire you. So when you are having that tough day, you are facing that bit of adversity when, for example, you've been dropped from a contract, or you've been negotiating a deal and it's not quite come off, you've been working so hard to pass an exam, or you've been working really hard, maybe if you're in the performing arts for an audition and it doesn't happen, don't panic. So many people have knockbacks. It's so important to just keep that focus. In the next few weeks, I'm going to have our first few guests are going to come on. We're going to have some awesome people to talk about their story and their experiences. But inspiration, so important. Keep yourself inspired because it is really, really key to achieving your dream. Okay, so there we go then. This is your 3-2-1 philosophy. It's all written out on paper. I would suggest typing it up so it's a little bit maybe more neater, and you can put it on your office wall or in your bedroom or by the side of your bed or wherever you like to chill out. But remember, that one goal is happiness. Create that happiness every single day. Get up and, of course, remind yourself when it gets tough, what are the work things that can help you create that happiness? What are the family things that can create that happiness? And for you, what does that happiness be defined to you? Remember, for me, it was having that financial freedom, creating memories and experiences, and also giving back. So remind yourself constantly about this goal of happiness. Wake up every day with a smile on your face. You are going to have tough days where you don't have a smile on your face, but you'll get through it. I promise you. Next up, motivators. What are those 2 things you're going to write down, put on your mood board, which are going to just keep you focused? They can be short-term, they can be long-term. As I said, I went for a couple of materialistic things on this one, just because that is something that I've kind of kept me focused over the last few years. But again, it can be absolutely anything, and it is personal to you. Don't let anyone disregard your motivators. They are personal to you, they're important to you, and that is the most important thing. And then your inspiration. Your 3 things that really inspire you. They can be people, they can be things that inspire you, they can be moments in history that inspire you. So my great-granddad, 1976, Muhammad Ali, write them down. This makes such a good little mood board, even just words. Maybe I'm quite a visual person, so I have this all in pictures as well in my office. So maybe you could create this into a little bit of a diagram. But that's it, the 3-2-1 philosophy. Remember, get involved on social media, share your stories. Love to hear from you on Twitter, on Instagram. Make sure you also hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube, or of course, if you're listening via your podcast provider. It's amazing to have you on board. Thank you so much. We've got some amazing guests that are going to start coming on the show in the next few weeks, once we've outlined the rest of the 3-2-1 philosophy over the next couple of episodes. But thanks so much for checking it out. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much as also to our friends from Inverso. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.